This is the only DaVinci Resolve text animation tutorial you'll ever need. And the best part, every effect works in the free version. No plugins, no studio. So let's get started. I'm Parrish, and I help creators make better videos using DaVinci Resolve. Today I'm going to be breaking down 10 animations, beginner to advanced, that you can use in any project. YouTube videos, shorts, intros, lower thirds, and client work. Everything I show you works in both free and studio versions, so anyone can follow along. Let's jump straight into the first effect. Slide in effect. To do the simple slide in text effect, what we're going to do is we're going to take our clip and we're going to drag it down onto our timeline. From there, we're going to select how long we want our clip. In this case, we're going to have it for about 3 seconds. So we're going to put in 3-second timeline clip. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to the effects tab. We're going to go down and bring a text plus node down to the timeline. We're going to drag that out to the end of our timeline. With the text node plus selected, we're going to go up to our inspector window and we're going to put in whatever title that we want. We're going to change the color to anything that you want it to be. In our case, we're going to put a little shading. So we're going to go in and select number 2 and we're going to make it active and we're going to change the color to black in this case. And then we're going to increase the thickness a little bit so that it actually stands out. And then we go back to our text node and we're going to increase the size to how you want it. Then we're going to go back over to the effects tab and we're going to search for a video transition called slide. We're going to take the slide and we're going to bring it down to our text plus box and we're going to change the duration to about 15 seconds. We're going to go back up and grab the slide again and we're going to put it at the end of our clip and we're going to drag that out to about 15 seconds. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and highlight the transition on the beginning of the clip, go over to the inspector, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it says direction as in. We're going to ease in and ease out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select our output slide. We're going to go back up to the inspector. We're going to change the direction to out and we're going to ease in and ease out on that. Now when we play this, we will see that it's actually sliding in and sliding out. And that's a quick and simple way to do this effect. Typewriter effect. We're going to put a typewriter on any surface. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag down our clip, put it on the timeline. We're going to go back up to the effects tool, bring a text plus down into our timeline and stretch it out for the length of the video clip. With the text box selected, go on over to the inspector window and in the text box itself, we're going to just type in anything that you want. We're going to change the settings so that we actually can make this a little bit more center. So just kind of scoot it over and go back to the title. And now we're going to change the font color. In this case, we're just going to put it at black. And now at the very bottom of this, you got a right on effect. So with the playhead at the end of the clip, we're going to take the right on at 1 and we're just going to put a keyframe right there. Now we're going to move the playhead all the way to the beginning of the clip and we're going to move our right on to 0. That automatically creates a keyframe. Now when you play this back, it writes on like a typewriter. One other thing that we can do to make this a little better is we can add some sound to it. And now when you play this back, you have a typewriter sound with the animation. So this is very easy effect to do. Put it on anything you want. Text reveal effect. To get this text reveal to work, we're going to bring down an optional image onto our timeline. And from there, we're going to go into Fusion. And once there, we're going to disconnect our media that we just brought in. We're going to bring down a text plus node and hook that up to our media out. With our text plus selected, we're going to go over to our inspector window and we're going to type in anything that you want. We're going to change the font color to your desire, change the size size to your liking. In our case, we're going to actually throw in some shading and make a black background around our text. And then we're going to make it a little bit thicker. Now, with the text completed, we're going to go over to our rectangle node and we're going to bring down a rectangle node. We're going to hook that up to our text plus. As you can see, we have in the inspector window, we're just going to drag this out all the way. Now, if you are using the background, you're going to want to hook that up now. So unhook the text node, bring down a merge node. We're going to take the text and we're going to hook this up to the foreground, which is the green input of the merge. We're going to take the background and hook that to the actual background or the yellow. And then we take that and hook it up to our media out. Now we're going to bring our rectangle down and we're going to place it where we want it to actually be at for the text reveal. And then as you see, the text is gone. So we're going to go over to the rectangle controls and invert it. That brings our text back. So now we're going to go down to our text node itself and we're going to bring down the text until it disappears. At the keyframe at 0, we're going to go over to our text layout and we're going to put a keyframe right there. And then we're going to take and move our playhead to about 40, and then we're going to bring our text up to where you want it, and that will automatically create a keyframe. Then when you play this back, you can see that the text is revealing itself. When you go to move this, you can move it by either moving with the numbers, or you can grab these handles. The center lights up everything. You can move it all the way around in a circle. This will move it just left and right, and this will move it just top and bottom. And that is good for the rectangle and the text node. So now for the final thing, to make it look just that much better, we're going to go to the spline. We're going to go down and we're going to select everything in the spline. We're going to go click here, Control A, right click, and go up and ease out cubic. And that will put a curve like that. So now when you play this back, you will see that it actually looks a lot smoother going up. The longer your video clip is, the further the keyframes are, the slower it will rise. The closer the keyframes, the quicker it's going to appear. Text bounce effect. To get this effect, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Fusion page. We're going to bring in a text plus node, and with that text plus node selected, we're going to put in whatever title that you want. We're going to change the font and the color as well. We're going to adjust the size a little bit so that you actually see something on the screen. We're going to right click inside of the text box. We're going to go to the follower. That will make the modifiers tab active. We're going to put a delay in here of about 4, and from there we're going to go up to our shading tab. And in the shading tab, we're going to make sure that our playhead is at 15. From there, we're going to put a keyframe on the opacity, and we're going to go down and put a keyframe on the XY position offset. That's going to take you directly into the path, which is fine. Just double click the follower, go back and make sure that we are back now at position 0 on playhead. So I can see right now that we're not going to have any room with our playhead there. So we're going to go back into the timeline and we're going to stretch this out on the edit page to about 2.5 seconds. From there, we're going back into Fusion. We're going to make our timeline 0 and we're going to go down and we're going to drop our Y value to like a negative 0.35. That automatically creates a keyframe. We're going to drop the opacity down to 0 and that automatically creates a keyframe. So now when you play it, you can see that it actually reveals itself. So now what we're going to do is we're going to smooth it out and make it bounce. So we're going up to the spline editor, and in the spline editor, we're going to select displacement. We're going to zoom out to fit. We're going to do a left click in here anywhere, Control A to select all points, and letter S to smooth them out. Now we're going to add an extra keyframe, about 10 keyframes from where we are, which is going to be 25. You see it turns into a plus. You left click there, it actually adds another keyframe. So we're going to zoom this to fit again. We're going to click inside here anywhere, Control A to select all points, and S to smooth them out. We're going to take the handle on this second keyframe and we're going to move it up to about 1.6, 1.5. We're going to drop this one down a little bit. We're going to zoom to fit one more time. We're going to bring this first keyframe up. This will make it appear and move faster. When you play this back, you're going to see that it actually has a bounce to it and it looks pretty good. You go into the edit tab and play this back. It looks good. Text glow effect. To get this effect, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Effects tab and come down and bring a Text Plus node onto the timeline. Bring that out to about 5 seconds. We're then going to go over to the Inspector window and put in whatever you want as far as a title goes. Select whatever font you want. Change the color if necessary and make the text a little bigger. Then we're going to go over to the Shading tab. Go over to number 5. In there, we're going to make this active. With that being active, we are now going to go down to the softness. We're going to bring that to about 8 for the X and 8 for the Y, and the glow about 0.8. And that's a little too much, so we're going to drop it down just a little bit. And that is how you make it glow. You can change the color of the glow any color that you want. If you want it red, you can have it red, blue, whatever. And that is how you get a text to glow in DaVinci Resolve. 3D rotating text effect. To do this text effect, what we're going to do is we're going to go up into a media pool and we're going to create a new Fusion composition. We're going to create this at about 5 seconds. We're going to take and drag that down into the timeline. From there, we're going to go on over to the Fusion tab and we're going to bring down a Text Plus node and hook that to your media out. With the text node selected, we're going to go over to our text box on the inspector. We're going to put in whatever you want. We're going to type it in basically twice, and then we're going to change the size a little bit so that it is into the window. We're going to change the font. We're going to change the color will stay the same. We're going to bring the size down a little bit. From there, we're going to go out to the layout section and we're going to change from point to circle. And then from there, we're going to bring the width down until it actually is at about the right size. And from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the rotation and we're going to change the order to ZXY. And from there, we're going to be bringing in the X to about a -75, and that will just lay it down a little bit. That looks pretty good for here. Then from there, we're going up to the transform and we're going to change the X to a 90. That will make the letters stand up. From there, we're going back to the layout tab. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the text to the center and we're going to be bringing it to the beginning. The lower line is the one that we're looking at, and this is going to be our starting point, is the 3D. So we got that at the beginning. Now if at this point you want to increase the words or letters, you can go over to the text and you can increase the size to how you want it. As you can see, it's going to mess up all of the word spacing, so you just go back out to the layout tab and you increase the width a little bit more until you actually get your proper spacing that you wanted to begin with. Now we're going to go into our Z. We're going to put our playhead at 0 and we're going to go over and put a keyframe on Z. And now we're going to bring the playhead to the end of the clip and we're going to put in a 180. If you want it to spin faster, you can put in 360. And when we play this, we're going to see that it's actually rotating just the way you thought it should be. Very simple, quick fusion. And now when you go back over to the edit page, you can see that it looks really good from here. Text stroke effect. To do this effect, we're going to create a new Fusion composition. We're going to make it about 5 seconds, and we're going to bring it onto the timeline. And from there, we're going to go into the Fusion. Now, we're not going to have a regular text. We're going to bring down an X text effect, and we're going to put that in the timeline. With our text node selected, we're going to Control Shift and bring up an S render, and we're going to put that onto our timeline. Now we're going to hook that up to our media out. We're going to go in to our S text, and we're going to input any text that you want, any font. Usually works better with a bolder font. Increase the size to the way you need it, and we're going to choose a lighter, say, blue color. So with the S text highlighted, we're going to go in and we're going to put an S outline into the node tree. With the S outline highlighted, we're going to go over to the inspector and we're going to bring down the stroke thickness a little bit. We're going to put a keyframe on position, and we're going to drop the length down to 0 and put a keyframe there. We are doing this on playhead position 0. So now we need to advance the playhead to frame 25. We're going to go in and we're going to increase the position and length, and that automatically creates a keyframe. If we move the playhead back to 0, you can see that we already have dots on the screen. So we're going to change the border style to flat, and that will get rid of those dots on the screen. So that does it for that. What we're going to do now is we're going to go up and do the spline. First, we're going to do the length. We're going to highlight zoom to fit. We're going to select all of the keyframes, and we're going to press S to smooth them out. Now we're going to press T so that we can have a chart. We're going to zoom this out to about 60. Right here on the ease in, we're going to do that on 60. Now we're going to go to position, turn off the length, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to highlight the keyframes. We're going to smooth them out. We're going to bring this out to 60 as well. So now when you go back and play this, you can see that it looks pretty good, pretty smooth, but we can do just a little bit better. So we're going to go in and get rid of our spline. We're going to go into the S render. We're going to control space and put in a soft glow. With our soft glow selected, we're going to go into the inspector and we're going to bring up the gain just a little bit. So right about there should be okay. So now when you go over to the edit tool, you can see that this actually looks pretty good. Blur in effect. To get this effect, we're going to take our piece and we're going to take and put it onto the timeline. In our case, we're just going to make this about 3 seconds. We're then going to go over to the Fusion tab, and in the Fusion, we're going to highlight our media in. We're going to click text box, and that will then put a text box on our timeline. With our text box selected, we're going to go over to our box and we're going to put in whatever it is that we want for a title. You're going to change the font, change the color if you want, change the size to how you want it. Then we're going to right click in the text box and we're going to choose follower. That will activate our modifiers tab. With the modifiers tab highlighted, we're going to go and put a delay in for about 2 seconds between each character. We're going to change the order to go completely random, or you can choose any of the other that you want. We're going to go completely random. From there, we're going to go down into the shading tab. And once in the shading tab, we're going to go down to our softness control. We're going to make sure that we are at frame 0, and we're going to put our XY at 20. And then you're going to make a keyframe there, and you can see that it actually starts to blur out the images. So from there, you're going to go whatever you want as far as where you want the frame to be completed. So we're going to go to frame 30, and we're going to drop this all the way back to 0. And now when you go back into the edit tab and you play this back, it should look pretty good. Right on effect. For us to do this effect, we're going to right click in our edit page. We're going to create a new Fusion composition. We're going to make that about 5 seconds long. We're going to put that onto the timeline and go into the Fusion page. Once in the Fusion page, we're going to bring a text node down and connect it to the media out. With the text node, we're going to go over and we're going to select whatever it is that we want to put in our text box. We're going to select a good font for this. We're going to go down and try and just choose this one. From here, we're going to make the size a little bigger. We're going to increase the tracking to give it a little bit more space in between of the letters. Now we're going to go back down to the node tree and we're going to highlight the text and control space to bring up the menu. We are going to search for mask paint. We're going to add that to our node tree. With the mask paint selected, we're going to go over to the inspector tab. With that, we're going to expand the brush controls and the stroke control. We're going to select this brush over here. On this is the stroke. We're going to click on that, and once we do, to go into the mask and invert this so we can actually see the word on the screen, we're going to go back over to the controls. This round circle is the size of our brush, so we're going to need to increase that to about, say, 0.35. Going to bring the softness all the way down to about 0.1. We're going to take stroke animation and we're going to create that as right on. And now we're going to go over and we're going to start erasing, so to speak, all the letters. And once we get through that, do not click off. Keep the mouse clicked at all times while you're doing this. If you let go of the mouse or you make a mistake, you have to start over. You can do a Control Z and that will get you back to the beginning. Once we have finished that, we're going to go over to the mask and we're going to select invert and turn that off. Now when you play this back a little bit, you can see that we're actually writing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over and highlight the keyframes. We're going to click on that, and once we do, we're going to come down to our keyframe. We're going to expand all of these until you see the keyframes that are there. We're going to zoom to fit. We're going to click on that. We're going to highlight all of the keyframes. Click and drag. They should all turn yellow. Right click, and in there you will see time stretching. We're going to go for time stretching, go to the last keyframe, and then we're going to compress. This is the whole length of the clip. We're going to go about half of it. So we're going to go to about halfway. So now when you play this back, you will see that we are actually writing on. If you go over to the edit page and play this, this is the write on effect, and this is how it should look. Lower third. So to get this effect, what we're going to do is we're going to go over and create a new Fusion composition. We're going to make it about 5 seconds long. I'm going to create it. Now we're going to go up here and we're just going to double click it and we're in the Fusion page. So we're going to bring a background node down and we're going to hook that up. We're going to take and drop the alpha down on the background. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring down another background node and we're going to go over and we're going to change this color to something that you would want as a background for your lower third text title effect. So we're just going to go with this green for now. If you want to see this green, we can go up here and do this split window viewer, and then we can take this and just either click this circle or we can just drag it up. That is kind of bright, so we're going to bring this down a little bit. We'll just make it there. That'll be fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to merge this with our background. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to bring a mask down, a rectangle mask. We're going to take the output of this and we're going to put it to the input of the background. What that'll do is it will put everything inside of the rectangle and everything outside of it will be ignored. So now we're going to resize this. We're just going to take and drag it down, or we can put it whatever we want. So we're going to take the width, and the width is going to be, say, about 0.6, and this should be about 0.11 for now. We're going to take and drag that down to our corner. But now it looks like that something is missing, and that's going to be our text. So we're going to go over here and drag a text node down, and we're going to hook that up to our node tree. We're going to just take the output of the text to the output of the merge, and that will create another merge. Inside of the text, we can go over here and put in whatever text that you want and the font that you so choose. You can change the size to how you want it. For now, we're going to leave it as it is. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the text inside of the banner. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this little thingamabob and we're just going to bring it down into our rectangle. What I'm going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to anchor this as a H anchors, but then we're going to just take and move this over to the edge. And how do we know where to move it to? We can just right click inside of here and go to guides, and we can show the center guide, and we're going to go to the guides and show safe title. So this brings up this dotted line here. This dotted line is the edge of the safe title. So we can actually bring this right on down to the edge of that, and that will be our safe zone for any device like the old style TVs and whatnot. So this is the safe area. So once you have all this lined up, we can just go back over here and turn off of the guides. So we just go and show guides. We're just going to turn it off. Sometimes they get in the way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to this. So we're going to just highlight the background and we'll do Control Space and we're going to search for shadow. And once we have the shadow, just going to add it to the tree. And then we'll go over to the inspector window and we're going to change the controls. Right now the shadow is hidden behind the box. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take and drag it out so that you actually see the shadow on the box itself. And then we're going to drag it down as well. Now it looks really thin, crisp. So we're going to make it blurred a little bit by decreasing the softness. And that'll give it a good glow, and it looks pretty good for a shadow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a shine on our banner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight and move them out of the way. I'm going to bring a color corrector and put it down onto our node tree. When you see it change yellow and blue, that means it's going to connect right there. And the color corrector, what that'll do is it gives us the ability to change the color of our title. So anything that you want, you can change the color. So we're just going to go and reset it. We're just going to make it a little bit warmer because it always looks a little better as that part. So we're just going to leave it there. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring a rectangle mask. We'll take the output and put it to the color corrector. That will hook up the blue mask for the color corrector. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually just take and move our rectangle down to however it is that you want it. We're going to move it down into our title bar, and you can actually see that it actually is now changing the color just subtle. So if you go down to the color corrector, you can change this color to anything that you want it to be. But what we're going to do is we're going to just make it a little bit shine. So we want to keep it basically the same color as it is, but just make it noticeable. So this is going to be however you want it to be as far as the width and everything. So we're just going to drop it down just a little bit. We're going to, at the same time, just angle this a little however it is that you want it to be. So we're just going to put it down there and just move it. So when it goes across, it's going to actually just give it a little bit of a shine right there. So now looking at this is a little too sharp of a edge. What we can do is we turn the view controls off, and that will show you that you have a very harsh edge. We're going to actually soften that a little bit. So right about there should be fine. We're going to turn our controls back on now. We're going to animate this. So we're going to take and move this off of the screen to your starting position. We want to start at 0, and we're going to put a keyframe right there. Now we're going to take and move this playhead to where you want it to actually be finished, and we're going to say around 25, and then we're going to move this off screen at about there, and that should then create another keyframe automatically. So now when you go and play this back, you will see that there is a shine going across the banner. So now that we're almost finished and you're going to see the stuff, we're going to actually bring down another rectangle mask, put that into our merge. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring this down over our title bar, and we're going to make it a little bigger. We're going to take this and we're going to actually make this as our mask or revealing our title bar. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and move this center off of the screen just a little bit. This is not going to be the same as keyframing the other one. So we're going to just move this off the center. And then with their playhead to where we want it to actually start being revealed, we're going to move the playhead there. We're going to take the width and we're going to drop that all the way to 0 on a keyframe. Now move the playhead to where you want it to be completely revealed. We're going to say 10, and then we're going to move the width to where it's revealed. And that automatically puts the keyframe. Now when you go to play this back, you're going to see that it actually starts up and then the glow goes across the screen following it. So now it's kind of a jerky motion going on to the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up and bring down the spline, and in the spline we're going to work with our width. So we're going to highlight the width and zoom to fit. And as you can see right now, this is just going straight up the hill, and then boom, it stops and then goes straight across. So that is a harsh stop. We don't want that. So we're just going to highlight this one keyframe, and we're going to take this handle and we're going to just drag it to where this hill actually will give it a smoother, longer stop that will give it some deceleration to make it smooth. So when we go back and look at this, it's actually coming in and it's gradually stopping instead of an abrupt stop. And when you're doing motion graphics, it is always good to have it decelerate at a gradual pace. So we're going to close our spline now, and now we're going to say, look at this, and there is still something wrong. And I don't know, it's the words are still there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this mask and we're going to move it, and we're going to take the output of that mask and we're going to put it to the mask, which is the blue of the merge 2. And now when we play this back, the text will actually come and go with the mask. So that takes care of this one mask is doing 2 nodes. So now say you just want it to actually go off screen at the end of your footage. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our playhead, move it all the way over to about 10 frames before the end, and we're going to put a keyframe on the width at that point. Then we're going to move the keyhead to the end of the timeline, and we're going to drop the width, and that will put a keyframe there. So now that when we play this back, it actually disappears and it comes right back on at the start. So this does work. It's a pretty easy way to do it. So back over in the edit page, if we take and move our Fusion comp down on the timeline that we were working with, and we just basically move it out to the whole thing, we can now see that it comes out. It looks pretty good. The glow is there and it will disappear. Now, what you can do is, since we have put this on Fusion, you can now reuse this on any existing or other videos that you will be doing. All you have to do is save this Fusion comp here as a template. You can use this later down the road anytime you want. This completes our montage of most requested cinematic title effects in DaVinci. And if you would please give us a like, a subscribe, and leave a comments down below on what it is that you would like to see more of or what you would like to see. Have a good day.